Hello. Good morning to almost afternoon. I just finished up a workout. I usually work out in the park, but today I'm in my backyard under this awning. I have my resistance band right there set up. I got my kettlebells. I got like a couple little 15-pound kettlebells trying to make things work. I have a jump rope to get my cardio in. And I had to go ahead and say this. I had to hop on and address this problem. Have you seen lately, because of the coronavirus, how many trainers and fitness enthusiasts are now going in showing people home workouts? You've probably seen copious amounts of exercises that show people what to do. And while that can be great, I want to explain to you guys why most home workouts fail and why most people cannot stick to their plan and what instead is the better option. So I want to go over today these type of workout systems that people use and what the main problem is. And if you are looking for some exercises or home workouts to do, I have my own systematized way of doing things that will actually deliver results versus just random exercises thrown together. Like, hey man, what's going on? I don't know how to... Is it Bardot's? Interesting name, man. Sorry if I don't pronounce that correctly. Let me know how to pronounce it. Most home workouts are destined to fail. And the reason for that is because they do not plan for the long term. They're simply just exercises to do in a given day to burn calories. But that doesn't really bring the results. So if you're actually trying to figure out what home workouts work, what's a more systematized way in order for you to progress in strength, go ahead, drop me down a GIF below, because I'm going to give you my whole entire home workout system completely for free. No strings attached. All you got to do is just comment down a GIF. You'll get the whole system, you'll see some exercise templates, and you'll see a more in-depth reasoning as to why most home workouts are destined for you to fail. Alright, so the first concept I want to go over is this concept that most fitness trainers are just putting together these random workouts, right? You see squats, push-ups, jumps, planks, and they're just like whatever, like in a sequence, right? And it's great, like it's better than doing nothing, but here's the problem as I see it. Most people do not know how to exercise correctly, and that's okay. I was a personal trainer for like 2 years before I even got my technique down, because it's not easy. It's not easy to just say, oh, that person's doing a push-up, and this is how you do a push-up correctly, right? If that was the case, most people who work out, they wouldn't experience things like back pain, shoulder pain, neck pain. And in my experience as a fitness professional, most people who work out, they experience some sort of joint discomfort or joint pain. And it doesn't have to be that way. Once you understand how your body moves and the actual way to structure a strength program, you could then progress safely and effectively, right? I was looking at one the other day, and it was something like 100 squats, 80 push-ups, 60 sit-ups, jumping lunges, and all this stuff, right? And while those exercises are great on paper, they don't really do much for you in the long run. And the reason for that is because you do not know how to actually use those exercises correctly. You see, there's these joints in your body, right? Elbow, shoulder, back, hips, knees, ankle. In order for your muscles to actually activate correctly, your joint needs to be in a particular position, right? So if your shoulders are out of place, if your knees are out of place, you're actually just making the joint pain a lot worse, and you're causing that to then have bad form and bad technique. So in the long run, you're going to wind up getting hurt. So there's these two concepts that I want to explain to you guys about doing your home workouts. One is this idea of your shoulder blades right here in your upper back. If you go ahead right now and take your shoulders and pinch them back, you're going to feel those back muscles start to fire up. That's exactly what you want. Because if you're doing things like push-ups, squats, rows, pull-ups, most people you see, if they do like a pull-up, they kind of like shrug their shoulders forward, and that's causing deterioration in the joint of the shoulder and compressing the cervical spine here in the neck. So you're going to start coming into some problems when you try to move forward with your exercise. So make sure when you're exercising, you're pulling your shoulder blades back, so that way you can keep your shoulders locked in a safe position. So if I'm doing push-ups, I'm actually going to contract my chest because my shoulders are put in a safe position. I'm not going to deteriorate that shoulder. If you're doing pull-ups or rows or some variation, you want to think like there's a pencil in the middle of your back and you go ahead and you squeeze it, right? That'll keep your shoulders safe. And the second concept I want to explain here, hopefully I can try to change this angle up a little bit. I have this little tripod here. I want to show you guys the positioning of the knees when you're trying to do squats, right? So this is how you see most people do squats. Like this, okay? They do this. What you're doing there is you're putting pressure on your knee joints. And what you're also doing is you're not fully activating all the muscles in the leg. So you're not only deteriorating your knee joint, which by the way, it's only gonna hurt when it's too late. When you start feeling joint pain, it means you've been doing it wrong for a while. It doesn't mean that, you just started feeling it, so it's just, no. The pain came from constant pressure and deterioration. So when you do a squat, you want to flare your knees out so your hips can open up, allowing you to sink into the squat. And when you do that, you're actually activating your glutes, your butt, right? We all want a good butt, we all want a nice butt. And by activating those glutes, we're also using the biggest muscle in the body. Is it safe to crack your pelvic hip bone? Paul, I'm not sure how you plan on cracking it. I don't know exactly what you're doing. I don't know how you're cracking it. Like, are you feeling, like, if you rotate, are you feeling cracks here? Usually what happens if you are getting cracks in this pelvic area here, in the hip flexors, they're more than likely tight. So what you could do is something like a runner stretch, right? Or a lunge stretch. And if you do it correctly, you can start to open up that psoas muscle here that runs into the lower abdominals. You can start to open up that TFL, which is more onto the side of the hip. And you can open this whole area up by doing something like a runner stretch. So if I post this leg back and I go into this lunge position here, most people, they kind of go into like this overly extended position. And what you're really just doing is contracting your lower back, and you're not really getting the stretch here. So by putting your hand onto something, I have it on a chair here. If I put my hand onto the floor, I can force my chain here to roll in, and I'm going to start to feel that part of the hip flexor open up. Now when I push, so after I pull everything in and I push forward, I'm now going to allow this psoas and hip flexor area to open up, and I can flare this knee out to even further open up my hips. I could put my knee to the floor, I could take my hand, put it on the floor, and I can start forcing that area here to open up. But it's about putting yourself in that position of, see how my back is arched here in this pelvic tilt position? I want to be able to roll everything in. This is another concept. I wasn't really going to go over that today, but it's an excellent question. When this area here gets tight, it can cause a lot of back pain, it can cause soreness, tiredness. So if you are going to try to stretch this area, you want to tuck everything in and then drive your hip forward to open up this area. So if you're doing something like a squat, that same concept remains, right? Because if I just let my back arch, it allows me to get in lower, but I'm putting pressure here. But by bringing everything in, contracting my core, and explaining that concept I was talking about before, where my knees come out, I'm now allowing my hip adductors to fire up. I'm allowing my glutes to fire up. And that will allow you to sink lower into the squat and actually get those muscles going. Let me read the rest. And stretch a certain way, the outer hip tends to lock and it's tight as hell. Okay, yeah. Try what I just explained, that stretching sequence there to help you open up. There's a few others. If this is really a problem that's bothering you, go ahead and message me. and we'll try to figure out what the cause is. Because, again, when it comes to joint pain, it's really easy for us to say, oh, I got to stretch it out, right? There's a cause and effect to that joint pain. So the effect would be that your hip is tight. But unless we figure out why, we won't be able to actually correct the problem in the long term, right? There's a few different reasons. I'd have to know a little bit more about your lifestyle to see why it's like that. If I had to take a guess, more than likely technique issues in the gym. That would be my guess. Only because most people have that problem. I mean, I've had that, and that's no big deal. I've had that problem for like years. Even as a trainer, I had that problem for years. It took somebody to actually watch me and break down my technique over an extended period of time for me to actually fix those problems. It's really hard to fix your own technical issues. It's really difficult because it's hard for us to plan ourselves. We need somebody to help us. It's just human psychology because we think we're a special snowflake. Yeah. If you have a hip imbalance, like you're kind of like jacked up. I had that issue. I had that exact issue. I would squat in an exaggerated sense. I would go like this, where I was putting pressure on one side. So if you're doing that, you could probably be firing that up. So what you have to do is you got to loosen this up and then strengthen the glutes. So yeah. So it sounds like you're not maybe going. It's not maybe like a forward or backward, but it's a side to side issue. Feel free to message me privately if you want to go over it more. You can even send me a video of you doing an exercise, and I can try to help you out more. But yeah, guys, that's the main concept there. I guess I was going to do 2 concepts, but Paul brought this up, so we got 3 concepts. Shoulder blades pinched back in order to protect the shoulders. Knees in the squat flaring out to open up the hips and activate the glutes. And keeping this pressure off by tucking in, contracting the core. Now look, don't over-exaggerate it, right? Because then you're going to be like this. And we don't want that. We still want to be secure in this area, but we want to make sure everything here is braced. A lot of people, when they develop that hip flexor tightness, they tend to be overextended. So by contracting this, you can kind of keep yourself in a better position. But you got to watch that you don't over-exaggerate. Yeah, form is everything, but there's also lifestyle. You know, if you're sitting 8 hours a day, you're going to be tight. If you're, you know, if you've been doing stuff wrong for a long time, it's going to take time to fix, right? Because there's like a curve, right? If you've been working out wrong for 3 years, it's going to take you at least 6 months in order to correct it, right? You have to scale back the weight, fix the form. So that's the main concepts, guys, those 3 concepts. If you are trying to get more of a smarter approach to your home workouts during this whole coronavirus thing, we go over some form, we go over some technique, and we go over some exercise templates and how to actually structure your strength training. So what you could do, just drop me down a GIF if that's what you want. Drop me down a GIF. I'll send you over that home workout template. And yeah, guys, I'm going to finish up. I'm going to hit some jump rope. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I had a lot of people here joining. Paul, thank you so much for asking questions. That's awesome. And I'm looking forward to coming live again with you guys soon.